Hello, class. Welcome to Religious Studies 362, History and Development of Jewish Thought, from the Medieval to the Modern Era. My name is Professor Pitts, Matthew Pitts, and I will be your instructor throughout this semester. I'm excited to have you guys in this class, and I have to be honest, this is my favorite course to teach. I hope that all of you that are registered now stay in this course and find in it a rewarding experience throughout the semester. I think you'll understand as the course progresses why this is my favorite to teach. I think you'll see that I'm very passionate about this subject and excited, and my goal in this course is to instill a little bit of that passion and excitement into you guys as students. Um, I look at you as colleagues. I'm interested in what you think. I'm interested in your past experiences and how they'll inform your reaction to the information in this course and how you will interact with each other. And I'll explain throughout the course how you will have a lot of opportunities to interact with each other. Because this is an online course, obviously the challenge that we have is that we are not in the same classroom. You can't raise your hand and be called on. We don't have back and forth and interchange in the classroom. Hopefully, that's what your classroom experiences are like in the classes that you have on campus. But for this one, it's going to be a little bit different, obviously. But I feel like I've structured a course so that you can actually get to know each other and still have a good opportunity to share your opinion and to react to other people's opinions. In fact, your willingness and desire to do that will be factored into your grade as well. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me just talk for a second about the content of this course. I am fascinated by and love the study of Jewish history and thought. This class is hard to sum up in one single discipline. It's not a history class, it's not a theology class, it's not a sociology class, it's not an economics class, but really it's all of those sort of combined because to understand the trajectory of Jewish history and civilization through time, we are going to be looking at pretty much almost each one of those disciplines one at a time or together throughout the course based on the week that we'll be studying. We'll read some writings of theologians. We'll study history and development of thought. We'll talk about um, what it means to be a people and other sociological questions. So hopefully this will be a fascinating and exciting experience for you. Um, Now, this is a survey class, which basically means that it goes from one point in historical time to another. You guys are coming on during the second half of this grand survey. This class is basically broken into two courses: Religious Studies 361 and 362. So, 361, which was taught last semester, we basically started at the very beginning. We talked about cosmology and the Jews and the Bible and the Jewish covenant with God and the development of Judaism through time, um, basically up until the end of the rabbinic period, which for some of you that don't have a lot of context in terms of Jewish history, that began shortly after the death of Jesus Christ and the destruction of the Jewish temple, which was about 70 AD. So anyways, we are going to be sort of picking up around this time after the rise of the rabbis and moving forward. And I told you that this is my favorite class to teach, even compared to the other section, 361. I love this because I just love seeing the development of Judaism up through the modern era. We get to talk about such fascinating topics as Zionism and Jewish nationalism, the state of Israel, Judaism in America, um, and we will have a section on the Holocaust, very sobering week on the Holocaust, and opportunities for us to look at anti-Semitism, which is hatred of Jews, and compare standard anti-Semitism through time to Nazism and Hitler's hatred of Jews. Anyways, just fascinating and thought-provoking week. So let me go through the syllabus. Hopefully, I've had a sufficient hook here, and you're interested, and your desire to take this class has been reinforced. I want to talk a little bit about some of the specific assignments. Now, please listen very carefully to this part of the lecture because invariably every semester I always get a lot of repeat questions that come from students. And so I'm really bearing down on this part of the lecture to just remind you to please pay attention because I will give some important information that will be reiterated throughout the course, But my lecture in conjunction with the syllabus that you all will have, it's posted on the course, will hopefully answer a lot of the questions you have about the assignments throughout the semester. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to scroll through some of the standard kind of boilerplate part of the syllabus, but right here you'll see the required texts. You want to go ahead and get those as quickly as possible. We have Scheindlin, A Short History of Jewish People, of the Jewish People, George Robinson, Essential Judaism. Then we have Abraham Joshua Heschel's The Sabbath. He is such a wonderful writer. I think you're going to really enjoy reading his writings. We'll read a little bit more from him as well. And then Batnitsky's How Judaism Became a Religion. And then there will be some kind of off and on lecture or other writings that I will post, or readings that I'll post each week based on the week. So let me just get right through into the assignments, and I recommend take some time to read through this. You know, some of this other stuff is good stuff too, but for this lecture, I really want to focus on the assignments. So you'll see that there are 1,000 points available, so it's really easy to calculate your own grade. 240 of the points will come for the postings and review and replies. We'll talk about that. 210 from the quizzes. You'll have a quiz almost every week, and I will fit in a smattering of just a couple of free quizzes here and there. You won't know when they're coming until they come. I want you to prepare for them, but you'll get a couple of surprises throughout the semester. Then there's the Sabbath assignment. We'll talk about that. A synagogue assignment, which I like to also call a lived religion assignment. This is awesome. You'll love that, I promise. And then the research paper, and finally the final exam. All right, let's talk about each one of these. So the discussion postings and replies, this is something that you will work on throughout the entire semester. You'll have to, otherwise you won't be able to get the credit. Each posting will be due Thursday evening of the week. So, for example, let's talk about this week. There will be a forum that's available based on the first lecture, which is basically kind of a review lecture of the last semester, so that you can kind of get up to speed. And you will have the ability to post in that forum some sort of reaction. Now, what I'm looking for is, what were your impressions of that week? Could be the readings, could be the videos that I posted, or the lecture. What are your thoughts? What catches your attention? You want to sum this up in 1 to 2 paragraphs. I don't want it to be 2 or 3 lines. I want it to be, substantial enough, 1 to 2 paragraphs. If I feel like you're not given enough, then I'll reach out to you and let you know. But most of the time, this isn't an issue. So a lot of people say, well, what do I write about? Well, really, you can write about anything. You can compare, talk to me about what you learned and how it compared to what you thought you knew. Or if there's something about one of the readings that you don't like, then tell me. I didn't like this. I didn't like the way the author said this. I didn't agree with that. You have got to have your own opinion. I'm so excited to read and hear what you guys think about this stuff. A lot of you will know about Jewish history. You'll have some sort of, schooling in it, or some of you may actually be, practicing Judaism, so you'll know some about it. Some of you won't, and that's okay. And that doesn't mean you can't be extremely successful in this course. But just push through that little voice in your head that says that you can't have an opinion, or your opinion's not as good as anyone else's, because the whole point of this particular assignment is to get your opinion out there. So during 12 weeks throughout the semester, could be any of the 15 or 16 weeks that we have, just during 12 of those, you have to post a unique posting reacting to the information. And then 20 times throughout the semester, you'll see this 20 replies, you have to post a reply to one of your colleagues, to a fellow student. Get on there, read their posting, and then post a reply and reaction to what they're saying. You can agree with them, you can argue with them, but put down something substantive. Now, the replies don't have to be 1 to 2 paragraphs, but a few sentences is fine, but make them as long as you'd like, as long as you get a few sentences in. Now, this part pay attention to, because this is when they're due. So The postings will be due by Thursday evening at midnight. Okay? Any posting, and that's the primary 1 to 2 paragraphs, that is done after Thursday night at midnight will not be counted towards your posting totals. So you have to post by midnight on Thursday night of the week. You'll have the readings, you'll have the lecture the very first day, Monday every week. So you'll have a few days to post. Now, the reason that I have you post on Thursday is because in semesters past when I haven't, everybody posts on Sunday night before the next day when the next week starts, and then there's no time for reaction and replies. So your first posting has to be done by Thursday, and then all the replies have to be done by Sunday evening at midnight as well. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. That's 12 discussion postings throughout the semester. You can only do 1 per week. You can do more, but only 1 will count towards your total. And then a minimum of 20 replies throughout the semester. Only 2 per week can count towards your total. But every semester, I always have several students that have a lot more than 20 because they just get excited and they get reacting to the other people's postings. And it generates a really good topical discussion. Okay, I think that's pretty clear. So that starts this week. You'll have a forum that is kind of a get to know you forum, but there will be a separate forum for reaction to the lecture, which is going to be the review lecture again from the information from last semester to sort of catch everyone up. Okay, we also have quizzes. There's 14 quizzes throughout the semester. Like I said, there'll be a couple of free ones, total of 210 points. And I just got to warn you in advance, this is where most people lose their points in this course. Your quizzes, you've got to study for them, you've got to prepare for them. I'll give you a hint that most of the questions will come from the lectures, but there will be questions from the readings. So you absolutely have to do the readings, otherwise you won't be successful on the quizzes. And this is a chunk of your grade. So if you don't do well on your quizzes, you want to get that A, but you only get half the points that you can get on the quizzes, then you've already lost the opportunity. So focus on studying for the quizzes. Now the quizzes will be posted every week at starting Friday morning. So every week, Friday morning, the quiz will be posted and ready. I don't want to post it earlier in the week just because I want you to come back to this course a couple of times throughout the week and not be able to just kind of sit down and power through the entire course on one day. I know a lot of you have taken this online class for the flexibility, and you still have that, but I just want you to come back to revisit this a couple of times throughout the week in your own time, just as you would have to a class that's in class where you have to show up 2 to 3 times a week. All right, let me say something I forgot to mention about the, let's see, about discussing postings. You will get full credit if you do it. And if you put in the effort and you do a good job, you do the 1 to 2 paragraphs and you put in some real thought. Now, some people say, well, how do I know if I'm doing that? I don't want to get burned at the end. You won't get burned at the end. If I read through and I see that you're just not putting quite enough into it, I'll send you an email. I'll reach out to you and say, hey, let's see a little bit more. And as long as you implement my suggestions and start trying a little harder, you'll get the full credit. So do all the postings, do all the replies, you get full credit. Study for the quizzes every Friday morning. That's a good chunk of points. So that's where you want to be steady and work hard and focus in this course so you can do well on the quizzes. Okay, the next assignment is the Sabbath assignment. There's a book that we'll read in this semester called The Sabbath by Abraham Joshua Heschel, and this is a wonderful reminder. This book, one of the reasons why I have you do this is because this is a reminder that we're not just talking about a people, a nation, history. We are talking about a belief system, a very powerful and special belief system that is significant and powerful to a large portion of people. A lot of people throughout time have looked to this with salvific authority, have found and worked out their salvation through this belief system. And we can't ever forget that when we're studying religion, that we are talking about what certain people believe is their pathway to God. And that's a very significant thing and a humbling thing to be studying. So the purpose of this book is to remind us of that. It's a very powerful book by this kind of modern Jewish theologian, Abraham Joshua Heschel. Very wonderful, very special person. He marched with Martin Luther King, just very powerful individual. And he wrote this very short book. Don't worry, you'll be able to get through it, called The Sabbath. So you're going to read that, but you have to read it on your own. I don't account for it in the readings. So during the first 6 weeks of the semester, you will need to read The Sabbath. Get a copy of it and go for it. You could honestly sit down and read it in 1 or 2 sittings. It's very, very beautiful the way that it's written, and not not too substantially long. So you'll read it throughout the semester, and then on week 7 you will have, very similar to your module postings for the discussion board, you'll have a special discussion board that week, where you will answer 2 different thought questions throughout the week. One will be posted at the beginning and one will be posted in the middle. You have to post at least 500 words on each posting, and then you have to do 2 replies, one for each thought question, to the postings of your neighbors or of your colleagues. So it'll be similar to the discussions. These don't count towards your discussion assignment. This is a separate assignment, 5% of your grade. Again, if you do this and you put in the effort, then you'll get full credit, 50 points for doing it, as long as I can read it and tell that you read the book and you put some thought into it. All right. Next, we have the synagogue assignment, or the live religion assignment. This is due the beginning of week 14, April 29th, which is a Monday. By midnight, you have to submit this, and there will be a place to turn it in on Titanium. Now, every student in the class will have to attend a synagogue during the semester, a Jewish synagogue. Now, I put on here Saturday worship services, but it can be anything. It could be, you could go for a Passover service this semester. You could go for any holiday service or any special service or meeting at a Jewish synagogue, as long as it's connected to the synagogue worship, and not like some other organization that is renting out or using the synagogue. So you can go to anyone. If you are Jewish and you're practicing, then I want you to go to a different type of synagogue. So if you're Reformed Jewish, then go to an Orthodox synagogue. Go to something different than what you practice. Could be any type of synagogue. If you have any questions about it, or you want to get anything approved, you don't need to get it approved from me as long as it's a synagogue. But some people have had kind of some extenuating questions about types of things they can go to. Reach out to me, and I'll give you the green light or the red light. But I promise that you'll love this. It'll be one of the most important and one of the most memorable parts of this course. You will write up a 2-page summary of your experience. This is another one of those parts of the course where if you do it, and I know you've done it, you get full credit. You'll get the full 150 points, but you have to do the write-up and you have to turn it in on time. And the write-up, there's no real direction for this. You can go any direction you want. You can just review your experience, talk about what happened, but I want to see some original thought. I want to hear what you thought about it, just sort of like the discussion assignment, the weekly discussions. What was your reaction? How was this different than the way you worship? How was this different than the way you thought it would be? How were you received? I've never heard a student that has had a bad experience at this or has been poorly received by the congregation. By and large, they love to have people come and experience worship with them. All right. Next, we have the writing assignment. This will be your paper throughout the semester that you'll be working on throughout the semester. It's 150 points. This one will be graded, so it's not just do it and you get the full points. Obviously, it will be graded. It's 5 to 6 pages, 150 points, 15% of your grade. Now, I will post a little bit more about this, but remember, the one thing because I get so many emails on this about what's the topic. Let me just say very authoritatively that you choose the topic. You can choose whatever you want to write on that has any connection to Judaism, Jews, whatever. I mean, not whatever, but it has to have to do with this course. But it can, it could be about biblical Judaism. It can be even before this course, as long as it has to do with Jewish civilization, thought, religion, whatever is connected. Now, some people love that because they can go in any direction they want. Other people have a hard time because they don't know what to focus on. And they don't want to do, I don't want to see something too broad, and I don't want it to just be a history lesson. Like, for example, I wouldn't want you to say, I'm going to write my paper on the Holocaust. That's just way too broad of a topic. You've got to narrow it down. You've got to say, you know what, I'm going to do my paper on Hungarian Jews in the Holocaust. I'm going to do my paper on Jewish resistance in the Holocaust. You see? And then you go and you find your own sources. You go research up on it. You pull together sources, and it comes together in your own way. So if I can recommend anything about picking a topic, pick something that you're fascinated with. Spend some time. You don't have to pick it in the first couple of weeks, but you do want to get working on this because it is a large chunk of your grade. So you don't want to wait till the last week like a lot of students do. But find something that interests you, and then I recommend going to the library, talk to the research librarian, and ask for the Jewish section, either in religion or politics or wherever, and they can point you to different sections. Just start pulling books off the shelves. Start looking stuff up and seeing what interests you. Um, find a good topic, and if you have something interesting to write on that you're interested in, then your paper will. I can tell in the paper what people are interested in, and those that just kind of phone it in and just get it done. When you're interested in it, the passion comes through, and it's a better product. If you need help on how to choose a topic, or if you have a topic you'd like to suggest to me, then reach out. I'd love to talk. I'd love to discuss it with you. All right. And finally, we have the final exam. And we will talk a lot more about this as it gets closer, but that's 20% of your grade. And I will tell you that I try not to make the final very hard. I try to make it pretty comparable to the the quizzes throughout the weeks, but even a little bit easier, because I know the hard thing about a final is you're trying to sum up all of the information. But what I will give you a few weeks in advance is I'll give you a study guide. Now, the study guide is just a topic list. It's just a list of specific terms, and every single one of those terms is on the test in some way, whether it's an essay or whether it's a multiple choice or a true or false. So if you get that list and you go through and you spend a couple weeks making sure that you can say one or two sentences about each topic, about each individual term, then you'll do great on the test. But you got to study, you got to be prepared so that you don't have to go back to your list, but that you remember those things, and then you'll have, then you'll be able to get through it during the time limit that applies to the test. So the time limit is so we can do an open book test, so you can use your notes, your books, whatever you want. Do not pull off Wikipedia. Don't pull off the internet. I know when that happens. I've seen it, and you'll get 0 points. So type in your own unique answers, but you can use your book. You can use your notes. But if you haven't studied and you're prepared and you have to look everything up, then you're not going to get through it in the time frame that you need to. So that's the final exam. I don't make it too hard. It's going to have fill in the blank, multiple choice, true or false, and one big essay that you'll have like 20 minutes to write. Okay. Actually, it says 15, but I think I'm going to ratchet that up to 20 minutes so you have a little bit more time. All right. Let me just say a couple of more things about this course. Okay. You'll have the lectures, and I will reuse some lectures because I have some lectures where information hasn't changed, and I like the lectures the way they came out. So there are some lectures that were pre-recorded in previous semesters. The reason that I say that is because if I mention a due date or I mention an assignment in one of those lectures, just disregard the things that you hear in the lectures as to assignments and as to dates. All of the dates will be posted here in the syllabus and each week. And if I want to communicate information about assignments, I will do it in the weekly modules and in the emails that will go out to you every Monday to start the semester or to start each week. So again, do not worry if you hear things in the lectures that contradict any information that you're getting in the syllabus. Just disregard the stuff you hear in lectures as to specific due dates. Hopefully that's clear. Okay, so every week, our timeline basically will be Monday morning. The Every Monday morning at the very beginning of the morning, early in the morning, the topic will be posted. The readings will be posted. The lecture will be posted. Any specific videos that I want you to watch, the lecture slides, the notes from the lecture. A lot of people will print those off and take notes on them during the lecture and then use that on their quiz. That's a great idea. Those will all be posted at the very beginning on Thursday or on Monday, and then the due dates throughout the week is that your forum posting has to be done by Thursday night at midnight to count. The quiz is posted Friday morning, and all of your replies to count are due by the end by Sunday at midnight. So hopefully that's all clear. I think that's about it for the lecture for this for the syllabus. But again, I want to tell you that I'm excited to have you in this course, and grateful that you've entrusted this part of your education to me. And I hope by the end of the semester you'll have a new appreciation and a new excitement for this topic that will help you see the world in a different way. Thank you.